It seems to me, Mr. Mayor, we have two crises here, two tragedies, not mutually exclusive, as we were just saying, deaths that are linked by their senselessness. We've got Alton Sterling and Philando Castile, two deaths that when you look at them on videotape, no matter what you're feeling about law enforcement, if you're a normal person, it's sickening. And what do we do about that?
Okay, what we do about that is we investigate it, we prosecute it, and if they are guilty, and as anyone else, they're presumed innocent, right? If any of the police officers are guilty, we put them in jail. That's what we do about it. And that happens infrequently. It seems like it happens a lot because it becomes national news. But if you look at the number of murders of black men in America, that would make up less than 1% of the number of murders of black men in America. So the way we deal with it is to put it in proper perspective and be honest about it. What happened last night was the worst attack on law enforcement since September 11.
Yeah.
The people of Dallas should not feel guilty about it. It could have happened anyplace else in America. Police officers in this country feel they have a target on their back. And they felt that way for over a year now. Police officers Ramos and Liu, who were assassinated on purpose.
In New York City, yeah.
Yeah, and this man made his motives clear. He was killing them. I'm just reading from the police commissioner. He wanted to kill officers, and he expressed killing white people. He expressed killing white officers. He expressed anger for Black Lives Matter. None of that makes sense, said Chief Brown. Now, the reality is we've got to talk honestly to each other. No police officer should act brutally. No police officer should act in a way in which he disrespects anyone's rights. And any police officer who's done that should be punished severely. I personally have prosecuted 70 police officers and put them in prison when I was U.S. Attorney, and was instrumental in police officers being prosecuted by Loretta Lynch, by the way, when I was mayor. On the other hand, I also recognize that 75% of, or 70 to 75% of the murder victims in New York City are black. The police have to be present in the black community, not necessarily because they want to be, not necessarily because you'd like them to have them there, but because that's where the murders are taking place. From the time I became mayor and the time I left, murder went down from 1,900 to 500, and then Mayor Bloomberg brought it down to 300. It's now going up again. In that period of time, we saved, thousands and thousands of mostly black lives by putting white police officers in areas where they were at risk. Now, the New York City Police Department is a non-majority white police department. That is by design, starting with Mayor Koch, Mayor Dinkins, me, and Mayor Bloomberg. We accomplished making it a multi-racial, multi-ethnic police department. It is not a majority white police department. At the same token, not every police officer is a perfect person. Some are evil, some are bad. Most are good. And the vast majority are good. And I think we have to be honest with each other. And when you talk about Black Lives Matter, well, the black young boy who's killed by another black young boy is just as dead as the black young boy killed by the police officer, except what I just mentioned happens 9, 10, 12, 50 times more than the other. And I think the reason that there's a target on police officers' backs is because of groups like Black Lives Matter that make it seem like all police are against blacks. They're not. They're the ones saving black lives. Black Lives Matter is not saving any black lives. It's the police officers that are doing it.
The way the governor of Minnesota yesterday seemed to be saying Black Lives Matter in his own way was something he said that a lot of people, struck a lot of people as honest. He said, I don't think had this motorist been white, we'd be talking about this. You have an assassinated driver of a car pulled over for a taillight in the state of Minnesota. The woman recording it for Facebook Live in the front seat, handcuffed despite 4 rounds in the chest of the guy, and no first aid squad.
Yeah, that's heck of an assumption, though, and not appropriate by the governor. How does the governor know what the motivation is of those police officers? White people get killed also by police officers in the United States. We have white organized crime. We have Russian organized crime. We have Hispanic organized crime groups. They get shot by the police. I prosecuted as many cases involving, white people, the mafia. So how does the governor know that? A confrontation with the police is an inherently dangerous situation, whether you're white or black. If you resist, a police officer is immediately going to become concerned for his own life. And the reality is that doesn't matter if you're white or black. If the police officer says to me, put your hands up, and I try to run away, I try to lunge at him, I try to grab him, I don't care if it's white or black, that gun's going to come out. And we got to teach young people that. My father taught me that. When a police officer tells you something, do what he says. It doesn't matter if you're white or black. I do not believe that our police are basically racist. I do believe they are put in contact with the black community, particularly in urban America. Not in the rest of America, in urban America, much more often than they are with the white community. They haven't chosen that. 7 out of 10 of the people murdered in New York City last year were black. 75% of the murderers that were convicted are black. So when the police get calls, where do they get calls to 7 out of 10 times? The black community. So they are in contact with that community more. It happens more often. One of the ways to deal with this is, as a whole, let's teach our police, if there's any remaining racism, let's get rid of it. Let's prosecute the bad ones who are guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And then let's teach everyone, including the children of the black community, that most of those police officers are the reason you're alive. Because the real danger to you is that black kid who's going to shoot you on the street, because that happens many, many more times than police officers. Let's talk about it honestly. And let's also realize, yes, black lives matter, but so do blue lives, and so do Asian lives, and so do Hispanic lives, and so do all human beings' lives. That just divides us. When you start that, you're just dividing us. And we've had, from on top, a lot of divisiveness and a lot of anti-police rhetoric. And I'm telling you, I know police officers, as you know, really, really well. I have someone work for me in my security company. They believe that there is a target on their back, and they've been telling me that for a year and a half.
We got a huge problem, though, in this country. I heard a former assistant FBI director say yesterday, we got a problem with police training. Yes, obviously. A problem with double standards, making traffic stops, but also a problem with hiring. And he theorized not everybody should be a police officer who wants to be a police officer. And maybe we should look anew at the people we accept into these jobs.
I can only speak for the New York City Police Department. The hiring process is rigorous. The police department is a non-majority white police department. They are trained in courtesy, professionalism, and respect. And did we occasionally have a police officer who acted improperly? Yes. Did we occasionally have police officers falsely accused? Yes. 4 police officers, all of whom were acquitted by a jury including 4 African Americans on the jury. There were 4 months of demonstrations. I never allowed riots. 4 months of demonstrations to have those police officers convicted. They were tried by a jury with 4 blacks on the jury, and they were found not guilty. So it goes all different ways. The best thing for a governor to say, the best thing for a mayor to say is, I don't know the facts. Let's use our criminal justice system to develop the facts, not to pronounce that it was a racial killing. That isn't for him to decide. He can't look in that police officer's mind and know if it's a racial killing. We had a terrible incident in this city in which a police officer plunged something up the backside of Mr. Mawima. That police officer's girlfriend was African American. It wasn't racial. You know what it was? He was an extraordinarily sick man, and you're right, we never should have hired him. And I will tell you, just to get myself off the hook, he got hired before I was the mayor. In any event, I could have hired him. But what did we do? My police commissioner, Howard Safer, worked with Loretta Lynch. That police officer is now in jail for 25 years. If it was up to me, he'd be in jail for life because he committed a crime. Then I had other police officers who were falsely accused. And my standard always was, maybe because I was a prosecutor, let us calm down, no demonstrations, no that get out of control. Let's let the criminal justice system sort this out. In the one case, the police officers went to jail. In the other case, the police officers were correctly acquitted. In both cases, the racial agitators tried to create horrible problems as to both, with no distinction between the one who was guilty and the one who was innocent.
From the president to governors to mayors to, in this case, a former two-term mayor of the city of New York, the 107th mayor of the city of New York, Rudolph Giuliani. We're going to hear from a whole bunch of people, and tempers are running hot because we have twin tragedies, not mutually exclusive, related, and tied together by their senselessness. Mr. Mayor, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, and God bless all the families involved in this. None of them deserve this.
No, that's for
on
sure.
all of these situations.
That's for sure.
They're the ones ultimately who suffer. Hopefully, the others are in a better place.